I'm Gerald Bentley. This is Las Vegas Wrestling Scene Confidential, LVWS. Today, we're joined by the mom I'd like to fight. Think about it. The M.O.M, Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling Lockett legend, now coming to Las Vegas in the FSW, soon to be in the UWW, and spreading across the country. Rachelle Riveter, the wrestling mom. Rachelle, thanks
Hi.
for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hey, now, just right off the top, because I see the abbreviation and I've checked out some of your old matches. M.O.M, what does that stand for?
That stands for Must Obey Me.
You need to listen to mom, right?
Of course. If mom's not happy, who is, right?
No, that's very true. Anybody that's out there watching now, and not as unusual now as it would have been years ago, but still relatively unusual. Pro wrestling and also a working mom. What brought you to that? What made that combination a goal?
So I've been doing professional wrestling technically for the past 5 years. And prior, I was just kind of focused on myself, right? And then life things kind of happened, unfortunately. And I was going through a divorce and whatnot. So when I unexpectedly realized that I was pregnant, it made me feel almost as if, I almost lost my identity for a little bit. So getting back into wrestling and really kind of making that an a point to do was something that I knew that I had to do, not just for, my mental health and because that's something that I love to do, but I have a child now and I can't sit there and be like, oh, go follow your dreams and don't let anything stop you if I'm going to sit there and not follow my dreams, right? That's hypocritical.
Yeah.
So just kind of, wanting to set that example. Obviously a full-time worker, career woman over here too. Got to keep the household in check.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, just kind of making sure that I'm balancing that life of being attendant to my son and then also making sure I'm taking care of things personally, financially, fun, family time, whatever you want to call it.
Well, there's a powerful role model aspect to that. I mean, there really is. And now you see a little bit of it at the high levels where you're looking at the WWE, AEW. You see Becky Lynch, Jade Cargill. Jade had her daughter right there ringside when she won the TNT title. I know your son's up there ringside quite a bit. And do you see that as being part of who you are? Is there a role model element to it that drives you some?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For myself, and I don't know if everyone thinks of this or other wrestlers, but for me, I just want to focus on being a role model to my son, right? So that's the main thing that I focus on. And then if other people want to go ahead and follow the ride and, want to join me, that's fine too. But the only person that I care about that I want to look up to me is my son. And so at the end of the day, if I'm making him proud, that's all that matters.
Well, and if you can be true to yourself, then it's a lot easier to be true to everyone else too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So now you got into pro wrestling, you said about 5 years ago. Had you been a wrestling fan for a long time, or was it just something that kind of came up and you were watching it and said, "No, I can do that. I'm athletic."
Kind of a mix of both, I guess. So when I
Okay.
was younger, my dad watched a lot of wrestling, kind of during the Attitude Era, right? My stepmom and I, we would call it his soap opera.
Definitely some
Which
truth to
was
that.
right.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I've always been an athlete. So I did track in college, I did basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, you name it. And for me, after you get to a certain point, right, when you're like done with your collegiate sports, and if you haven't gone professionally that way, there's this urge inside of you of like, I gotta do something, right? I gotta do something that's competitive for myself. So my dad, me, and my partner at the time, we were sitting in the living room and I was watching Total Divas.
Okay.
And I was sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh, if the Bella twins can do this, I can do this, right?
Sure.
So my dad knew someone who worked with him actually, who was wrestling with Rocky Mountain Pro at the time, and he got me introduced, got me Matt Yaden, his phone number, and I tried out. And then I kind of just like fell into it. Really didn't think I'd be the one to join professional wrestling, honestly,
Hmm.
because I hated contact sports. I hated
Oh,
it.
definitely plenty of contact.
I know it's super ironic, but it, just the moment when I got into the ring, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is what I want to do.
Okay, so it was quick, and then obviously the pandemic kind of put a halt to it for a lot of people. But
Hmm.
you stayed active, you were on the social medias, and kind of built a little bit of following for yourself, and then back in Rocky Mountain, and you've had some big matches in Rocky Mountain. Is it the Lockhart division?
Yes, yes, the Lockouts division. Yeah, we've had some really good matches. I wrestled Madison Reign. She was awesome, such a good human being, like just great energy. We've had Malia Hosaka come in. Um, we've just had some really good people come into RMP. Krista James, love her.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I feel like Colorado, the wrestling scene there, you don't really hear too much over there.
No, no. I
So,
mean, I reached out for Las Vegas wrestling scene from a different part of the country, just because of the activity with all the different organizations that are there. But there's good wrestling all around the country, and
oh yeah.
if people are only familiar with some of the things you've done with FSW, go to YouTube and just search Rachelle Riveter, and you'll see that match against Madison Reign, who's now the head women's coach of AEW and is a multiple time Impact Knockouts champion. And it's a really good match. And unfortunately, during that match, I guess you could say, mother's little helper, uh, Remy, wasn't really terribly focused on helping you. So you kind of had a strike against you going into the match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I feel like when you get blindsided sometimes, right? Um, that's just I think that that's definitely shows like character of someone, right?
Hmm.
So,
Now, when you
I
have a
mean, it's
valet standing there with a cane, they're supposed to look out for you.
exactly, exactly. But I mean, I'd rather see true colors now than later, right?
So is that match, is that kind of representative of the M.O.M in the ring? Is that's sort of the style? Not to say that you're pushing the boundaries of the rules, but is that kind of the style that you're going to get?
Um, maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I feel like there are, many sides to MOM, especially when MILF Mode comes out, right? It's a whole nother aggression, it's a whole nother desperation. So sometimes you might get, some grounding and pounding. Sometimes you might get some scratching in the face. You might get some, fish hooks in your mouth. It just depends on how I'm feeling at the moment,
Just
right?
whatever you need for that day, right? And
Exactly.
what was it like? I mean, that's a good measuring bar to go up against Madison Rain.
Yeah, it was honestly, right, like an honor because being with someone in that level in this profession, that's just something that not many people get the opportunity to do, right?
Sure.
So being in the ring with her in general was a good experience. I think that, we were pretty equal
Hmm.
competitors together. I think that, she just kind of got the best of me in the moment, but I think that it showed what I am capable of as far as the vets in this industry.
Yeah, and now you're moving out around the country, and now you're going to do some work with PCW, getting into Las Vegas a lot with
Mhm.
FSW. What what led you to start moving around the country and kind of getting out a little bit from the Rocky Mountain area?
So for me and my family, one, we wanted to kind of just relocate in general. Um, just a fresh start, right? I
Okay.
lived in Colorado most of my life. And then wrestling wise, you're just, unfortunately, you need to get out there, right?
Hmm.
Traveling, networking. And that was something that I really didn't do when I first started because my partner at the time, who I was with, was very insecure and didn't really like the fact that I was wrestling. So actually like forced me to stop for a little bit.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
I
And
I could
then,
see where for some guys that could be a little bit intimidating,
yeah,
right?
right. I
Because
mean,
hey, wait a minute, she could take you down,
right.
you know?
Um, but once I got back into wrestling and I had my son, I told myself, I am going to do this differently. I have so much more support by my side with my family. And with having just a good partner by your side, it just makes all the difference. And so for me, being able to have that support, that's what ultimately led for me to really start branching out and really starting to go around the country a little bit more, really just sharing my brand and sharing just what a mom is capable of, right?
Hmm. And now you also, and it's available right now on Impact Plus on YouTube. Got to get out there and get into the Impact Zone. They were just out in Las Vegas at the Sam's Town, and somebody who actually I think would be a really good matchup with you on a equal playing field, Tasha Steelz.
Yeah, yeah, that was, the opportunity one just to be a part of Impact was just great in itself, right? Not many people
Sure.
get that opportunity, so that was just amazing. Um, to get in and to get destroyed like that, well, I mean, it's on them, right? Because they got disqualified. So
Sure. Yeah, you get a win.
technically, I won. So,
Yep. You get a win.
but
What was the experience like being there with Impact? I mean, that's one of the best women's divisions out there, arguably the best. Jordan Grace, Deanna Peraza, Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary,
yeah,
Gazelle's Jaw. I mean, really a loaded up women's division. What kind of experience was that like just being there during the tapings?
it was absolutely amazing. I think that the women division, in general, they're all very welcoming. Um, one, they loved my son because I had to show my
Uh
son
huh.
off to them.
Sure.
And he was just like blushing and gushing all over the women because they're beautiful, right?
Hmm.
Um, but it was just a good, empowering feeling. None of them made you feel out of place. None of them, made you feel like as if you were new to them. Like it was just a very warm, welcoming feeling that I don't think a lot of women in this industry like bring out that vibe. I feel like I mean, to be quite honest, like I feel like most of the time women are just crappy to each other.
Hmm.
We talk the most amount of shit, excuse my language, and we sit there and we preach about women empowerment and blah blah blah. And it's like there's only actually a few that actually stand by that. And so when I went into that locker room and it was that feeling of wow, they are welcoming and they are empowered by each other.
Yeah.
That was
And
such a good feeling.
a team atmosphere.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it helps too because that's got to be the biggest stage you've been able to get on. So it's a good stepping stone to move forward into other big
Yeah.
matches, big venues.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
coming up, what's what's coming up immediately for you? I know you said you have
Immediately.
spreading out a
Yeah.
little bit, getting more into the Las Vegas scene and FSW.
Yeah, FSW, definitely, that's immediate coming up. We do have a show at the Silver Nugget on November 20th. And then definitely PCW Arizona, November 19th. I have that coming up. Going against, honestly, I don't know, she looks like a kid to me. So that's who I'm going up against. But and then have December 9th,
December 9th, the
UWW.
UWW. Yeah, I'll be up there for
Hmm.
that one. And here we go, right here, going up against the La Creme de la Creme, Ashley
Yes.
D'Ambros. Have you guys ever met before?
No, we actually have not met before. So I'm excited to actually see, like what she's about. She looks like a big woman, right? She looks like she trains a lot. I know I train a lot, but I'm little, so
Well,
it'll be
and
interesting.
she's gotten some national exposure. She's been a relative regular on AEW Dark over the last year or so. So
Yeah, yeah.
some people watching would have seen her before. You can definitely search it out and find her. And that's going to be with Ultimate Women of Wrestling, UWW. That's got to
Hmm.
be kind of a neat feeling being in an all-female promotion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being in a promotion like that, just the first time when I was there, back in July, that experience in general, was great. I think that, again, right, being
Hmm.
in a group of women where you feel empowered is a big thing. And, just putting things to the side, I feel like we need more promotions that are women based, right? You have Women's Wrestling Army that Marina, I believe, yeah, she
Okay.
started that one,
And
which
there's
that's becoming big itself too.
mhm.
So I think
Thunder
having,
Rosa has Mission Pro
mhm,
Wrestling. I can't really
exactly.
think of any other ones.
Exactly. I remember back in Colorado, we actually did have Respect Women's Wrestling, which was
Okay.
so awesome. And when we got rid of it, it was just one of those things. Actually, it was like pandemic, right? That just kind of
Yeah.
ended it. But again, right, you don't have many promotions when you think about it for women. So having something like that coming to the biggest platform, it's
Hmm.
so big and it's going to put so many eyes on women's wrestling.
And you can see all of the pro wrestling itself is just booming right now. Uh,
Hmm.
Probably at a bigger level than any time since the Attitude Era. Back when you had WWF at the time going up against WCW, now you have WWE, AEW, Impact every single week doing really good quality TV. And then
Hmm.
all the independents are starting to come up and, maybe what do you want to say, like one level below AEW and WWE and Impact. You have MLW, Ring of Honor's getting ready to get going, New Japan's going, FSW available nationally on Fight TV, NWA. So all the organizations are starting to come up, and then startups like UWW. So the
Hmm.
opportunity is just so much greater, and you have to feel good knowing that you have these different platforms that you can go work in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that, just kind of taking advantage of the opportunity that I have now to go around and kind of network and really just on, before, I guess you would say, me coming out here, right? Like no one really
Hmm.
knew who I was. And I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just I was in Colorado and it's small and you know, I didn't really travel that much. So I wasn't really actually doing myself any favors either.
Sure.
So now that I have branched out and I am getting on these multiple platforms, this is a time for all these other moms, women who, think that they can't go after things or whatever. Like, this is the moment for them to see someone that actually can do it, right? I know that we talked about it prior, but it's like there's so many stereotypes that are involving women and moms that
Sure.
I'm here to break those, right?
Yeah. Well, look at your T-shirt. And
Exactly.
just as an aside to people watching it at work, uh, be be sure when you search that you're you're using the safe search function, but you're kind of taking ownership of that, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, MILF mode. It's so funny because obviously when you first think of MILF, right, you're like, ooh, but
I wasn't alluding to that, but yeah, I mean that's
that's
the
the first
immediate
thing,
reaction, right? Yeah.
right? But for me, right, yeah, obviously, of course I look good, but I'm a mom and I like to fight. And that's where I really took that MILF mode because us moms, I mean, we are we are deadly, right? Like a woman, tiger, lion, whatever you call it, right? You mess
Sure.
with our cub, we will kill you,
Go back
right?
and
So
attack.
it's like that instinct that we have of just like this protection and wanting to, really just defend ours, right? And it's just
Hmm.
this natural instinct that comes. So that's where MILF mode comes in, right? It's an instinct. It's not just, I want to fight. No, as a mother, you have this instinct.
You're ready to fight. Yeah, you have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's inherent. So
Mm-hmm.
getting to that because you're fighting for yourself too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what what's a monthly schedule like for you? How many places are you traveling? How many matches are you trying to do in a month?
Well, it just depends. Sometimes it's like four a month. Sometimes it can be three. Sometimes it can be five. I think this month I have like technically like four
Okay.
small matches tomorrow, just tomorrow.
Hmm.
um, and then Arizona and then FSW. So like I have about six matches this month, which I'm
Yeah,
excited
so
about.
yeah, for I mean people looking at you saying, "Hey, I want to do that." It's a serious commitment. You're really committing a lot of time and a lot of energy to doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and it's not like just the traveling, right? Like it's the practice, it's
Hmm.
working out, it's, all of that. You have to dedicate your time to yourself, to in the ring, outside of the ring, what you intake in your body,
Sure.
because we are athletes, right?
Hmm.
So it just takes a lot and it's a lot of time management, but you can do it, right? You can do it. It's not impossible. And that's where I feel like a lot of the time, that's where kind of like, I guess, my cattiness comes out because a lot of people like to say, you're doing too much, right? Just like I made a post today on Instagram. People
Hmm.
tell me I'm doing too much all the time because I do have a full time career. I am a professional wrestler. I do make time for my son. I do go to the gym. I do go to wrestling practice. Like I have all these things that I do, but I manage it well and I do it to where I'm spreading my time accordingly, right? So
Hmm.
my time is very important to me. So if I'm making time for something, it's going to be with a purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Why choose between this one or that when I can have both, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, how much time would you say you spend each week working out, just getting ready for the matches? Because people may say, "Oh, yeah, it's 4 or 5 matches a month." Okay, but I mean, you're spending
Yeah.
hours each week just doing the
Hmm.
workout to be ready to do that.
Yeah. So I would say, outside of wrestling, which in itself could be, like 6 hours, like just together, right?
Hmm.
Um, with working out in general, I would say maybe about 10 10 to 12 hours a week of actually putting myself in, physical condition. That includes in the gym, at practice, right? Like
Sure.
it's so much discipline. And honestly, too, that's just how I got my body back from my baby. So,
Well, that's one way to do it, right?
right.
It, do you have a is there a Rachelle Riveter merchandise store online?
So I am doing the pro wrestling tees. It's so funny.
Okay.
I've never done a pro wrestling tees before, which is so bad because I should. But
Yeah.
I am getting it together. It is called the Mom Shop, the MOM shop, and it will
Okay.
feature MILF Mode shirts, the crop tops, and the regular t-shirts. It's also going to include some old merchandise that I had on there where it said keep calm and let mom handle it. Those are going to be half off because we are going to be rebranding.
Okay.
Yeah, just some more things coming along, different ideas. But definitely we'll see that on the Pro Wrestling Tees link once I get it, honestly, once I do it.
Okay. Well, just subscribe to LVWS Confidential on YouTube, follow Las Vegas Wrestling Scene.com, and I'm sure we'll get updates out as they come out for you.
Oh yeah,
Get that
absolutely.
get
And
that
people
going
can
out
always
there.
message me too, if
Yeah, I
they
mean,
want to buy.
what are the best ways to reach out on social media?
The best ways you can reach me, honestly, is Instagram, at Rachelle Riveter. And then also Twitter is a good way too, at Rachelle Riveter as well. You can DM me. There's also a link in there for you to go to like my booking email. That's a good way to reach out to me too. And there's a couple ways to reach out, but those are the best ways. And I would say definitely, if you are going to email me, if you found me on Instagram, please just put like your information so that way I can go back and appropriately make sure I'm speaking to the right person.
Sure. And like I said, for booking, I mean, you're your own agent too, right? You have to make the reach out to the different promotions or answer
Mm-hmm.
the responses. It's you. There's not a Rachelle Riveter team out there, is there?
I mean, kinda.
A
Have
little
my
bit.
own little
Okay.
team. I have a little team a bit, but yeah, for the most part, it is me right now. But again, that's where that time management comes in, right? I gotta
Sure.
look at things and make sure that I am adequately booking myself, right? Um,
Hmm.
but I do have my little squad.
Yeah. Okay. What's the goal for the next year?
Goal for next year:
So we're getting close
travel
now. We're in the
more,
holiday season.
right? Travel more for sure. Definitely want to get out there more. Definitely want to, get on Impact more with that opportunity. Hopefully it happens again. I know they're coming back out in February, so that's going
Yeah.
to be great. And then, yeah, just really kind of continuing to build my MILF Mode brand, mom brand, and hopefully, I'm signed somewhere. That would be great too.
Yeah. I mean, is that the ultimate? That's the goal, right? You want to get to Impact,
Yeah,
AEW, WWE, MLW.
yeah.
Get into that. Get into that level.
Ultimate goal. Yeah, ultimate goal, get signed. And then, right, make this more of my full-time career than my other full-time career.
What kind of it's talking about that? What kind of response did you get from getting on Impact?
I got a
Did you
great
notice
response.
big uptick in the socials and a lot of people reaching out
Yeah,
to you?
yeah,
Did
absolutely.
did somebody reach out to you that acted like, oh man, hey, best, and no names. Oh man, hey, remember how tight we were, best friends, and you hadn't talked to him in years?
uh, I haven't had, well, you know what? I have had like some people who have like, liked the post and like have commented, right? Oh my God, you're doing so great. And then like shares it and you're like, I don't even really talk to you. So I've had that, not
Yeah,
necessarily like someone being like, oh, hey, remember me? It's just been more like, let me share your information and now I'm going to like all your things. And I'm like, that shows your character.
well, still at least you got some response. And hey, we'll go into the championship mode here, right? Got
Oh,
our sports entertainer of the week champion here, Rachelle Riveter. So Rachelle, what wrestlers were the biggest foundation to you? What pro wrestlers did you look at and say, yeah, that's what I want to do?
the pro wrestlers that I looked at was, I mean, honestly, they were guys, right? So like The
Okay.
Rock, John Cena. I really like John Cena just because the character, right? Stone Cold. And then once I did look at like Total Bellas and stuff like that. The Bella twins, they were a good influence on me as well. I'm not going to say, they weren't the most athletic, right? But they didn't have this like huge background, right? So for
No.
me, it was just kind of like, yeah, if you actually put your mind to it and you actually put, your not just mind, like your body, and you practice and you do all of that, like you can really succeed in this. It's not just for those who were athletes in the past, right? It's for those who can actually do the work.
Mm-hmm. Puts time in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dream opponent. Who do you want to face?
Dream opponent.
Besides, of course, Tasha Steelz
Mm.
and Savanah Evans again.
Right. I would say my dream opponent is probably, it would be fun to go against Bianca. I think that would be a really good opponent in the future. Jade would be a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think going against one of the Bella twins would be also a dream as well, just because, seeing them was the reason why I kind of was like, yeah, I can do this.
And just as an aside, it just until recently you did have African American female champions in each of the three major promotions.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Tasha Steelz, which is
Mm-hmm.
is really really impressive considering not that long ago there was Jazz and there was Jacqueline, and that was about it for years. So there's much more representation in the wrestling
Mm-hmm.
community now.
Yeah, especially for, us Black women coming into the industry. I think, especially as moms too,
Hmm.
I think it's an amazing thing to see. And the more representation, the better. I'm not saying there's not a lot right now, because we do have a good representation of us Black women coming into the business and really kind of being that role model for other Black little girls or children out there. But I definitely think that it's also, reaffirming that things are just changing. The women division is changing. And as we keep growing and we keep getting more talented women, you never know who's going to be on top, right? You never know what you're going to see. And that's so cool, because there's so many women that are coming into this industry. It's a revolution almost, it feels like, again.
Yeah, from all sorts of different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Losing your picture there. We're just
I
seeing your
know. I'm
silhouette.
like, oh my gosh, my face. I need to turn on this light real quick.
Once you get the
Typically,
light on there.
I know. I'm like, oh great. Oh,
There you
perfect.
go.
That's so much better.
Yeah. So, um, what what types of matches would you like to get into as well?
The type of matches. What do you mean? Like, do I want to get into more like hardcore
Oh,
matches or something?
Iron Woman match, steel cage match, an extreme match.
Mm, I'm not really. I mean, I don't really have one that's like
Jumping
I
out at
have
you.
like a dream doing it. Honestly, I do all of them.
Yeah.
It's just there's not necessarily one that I would be like wanting to do than the other. Maybe steel cage. I haven't done a steel cage before, so that would be fun. I'm open to all of them.
Okay. And then obviously looking to go after some titles at some point. Being in Las Vegas, there's plenty of opportunities.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially going for the number one FSW, right? That's
Hmm.
now my new home essentially here. So gonna start off there first and then kind of just work my way around.
Yeah, so you'll be a regular in the FSW on Fight TV and up at the Silver Nugget Casino.
Yes, I'm excited to just continue with being with FSW. It's a great place. I love my coaches. I think that I have learned so much, and just the the background of FSW within itself, right? The people that have come, Zoe
Sure.
Starks, Chris Bay, we have such a good reputation. And so really coming and seeing what FSW is all about, I mean, they stand by their reputation. And I am so thankful that, they let me even be a part of what they are creating.
Who's been the most influential of the coaching staff for you?
Kenny King.
Kenny King. Okay. Also
He has
currently in Impact.
Yes, yes, also currently in Impact. He is, I would say, one of him and Cody Havoc. He's also a good one that I've really been influenced by. But Kenny has just really put things into perspective as far as the mentality, the psychology. Also, my child really likes him, so that helps.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he's a great, great guy. Very just genuine, wants the best for all of his students. And I think that if there were more coaches like that, I think that we would see a lot more people come out of the wrestling business more humble.
That's fair. That's good praise. Now,
Yeah.
has your son already wanted to get into wrestling, or not quite yet?
Oh yeah. Okay. So my son is such a badass. I mean, I'm telling you, like he jumps off the second rope already. Like he's ready to go. He knows how to run the ropes. He just turned 3, so it's crazy that he knows all these things. He knows how to do a leg drop. He tried to do a body slam on a little dummy thing, but it didn't really work. He knows how to bump really well, and I'm
Okay.
like, wow, you know how to bump better than half the people that I've met before. Like, just it's so cool to see him just get involved. He at home pretends that he has like his little entrance music, and he comes out like his little bell, and he's like, "Mom, I'm coming out, I'm coming out."
Well, that's good. You can go after Bodie Young. He's just given up 11
Oh,
years, right?
Bodie, another little kid, right? Just
Yeah.
another one popping up out of the woodworks. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks. Thanks for sharing everything, and definitely we want to make sure people check out your Pro Wrestling Tees shop as soon as that's up. Is it up already or coming up soon?
There is a link up for it, but I am putting my designs in still. So once those go in, I'm hoping by the next 2 weeks I can get all of that kind of situated and it can be up and rolling, like for sure. Because I
Okay.
do know that we have I have another design that I'm wanting to, hopefully it comes out before that. So I want to make sure I have like everything all on there so it's available for everyone. But
Oh, sure. You
the MILF
want to
mode,
make sure you get it before Christmas, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Only a few shopping weeks left to order your delivered gifts. So got to make
Oh,
sure
I
you get it
know.
in advance.
I know. Yeah, it's gonna, I mean, during the season, it's just so expensive. I got my son's birthday, we got Christmas. It's like crazy town. So yeah,
All sorts of stuff
get
going
your
on.
get your shopping done early.
Yeah. And then if you want to go ahead, you can buy the tickets now as well for the UWW at the House of Blues. See Rachelle take on Ashley D'Amboise coming up here pretty soon, December 9th.
Yes.
And FSW coming up even sooner than that. And
Hmm.
definitely check out all the socials. Follow her on Instagram. And of course, subscribe to Las Vegas Wrestling Scene Confidential on YouTube. We're going to also be joined this week by Jenny Santana from UWW. So we'll get quite a bit of women's wrestling talk in. Make sure we're
Yes.
getting our share of talk in. Rachelle, anything else that you'd like to get in there before we wind down?
Um, no, I feel like I'm just myself, that's just who I am. It's kind of, this is what you're just gonna get. So no.
And don't challenge it, because then you'll go into the MILF mode, and then it's a different game, right?
It's just game over by then. So no, this is me, and I am so happy to just share more just about like my journey, and I'm hoping that other women, other moms feel inspired some sort by me, by women's wrestling in general.
And it's
Excited.
definitely a new era of women's wrestling, because it's out there everywhere
Hmm.
you look. There's more women's wrestling, and it's becoming a bigger factor every
Yeah,
year.
yeah, it is. It is, and that's what's so exciting about it. And that's why I'm so excited to see just like the progression because again, right? So many different ethnicities coming in,
Hmm.
cultures, and I'm just excited to see what more women's wrestling is just going to do, honestly.
And in the entertainment capital of the world over the next year, it's M.O.M. looking to take over the women's LVWS scene. So, Rachelle Riveter, the M.O.M., thanks a lot for joining us this week on
Thank you.
LVWS Confidential. Make sure to follow on YouTube, subscribe, and we'll be back the next time we step into the ring. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.